Everyone has their favorite games, the kind of games so spectacular they can brighten your day and maybe even change your life. It's funny how a bunch of pixels on a screen can have such a profound impact on us. And I strongly feel this way with Sonic Mania. It's my favorite Sonic game ever, and one of, if not, the greatest game I've ever played. Let me explain why. After Sonic 3 Knuckles was released in 1994, Sega's top priority was getting Sonic into the third dimension. That was all the rage in the mid-90s, with consoles like the N64 and PlayStation. Sonic would make his 3D debut in 1998 with the release of Sonic Adventure on the Sega Dreamcast. This game put the series on a new path going forward. Besides the gameplay evolving, all the main characters would receive redesigns. And for the next 13 years, every main Sonic game was in 3D and used the new character designs. There were still 2D Sonic games released on handheld in the 2000s, like the Sonic Advance trilogy. But those use the new models, and only the first game feels similar to the original games on the Genesis. In 2010, we technically got a sequel to Sonic 3 Knuckles called Sonic 4, but it's really a follow-up in name only. Please don't make me talk about Sonic 4 any more than that. Let's just move on. In 2011, the original Sonic returned in Sonic Generations, a game where he teams up with his modern counterpart. Generations was a massive success with fans and critics alike. It was the most well-received Sonic game in years. I should mention that in the early 2010s, nostalgia for classic Sonic was at an all-time high. Fans of the Genesis games missed that gameplay style and talked about it on the internet a lot. And I got into the series from these people, and now I'm talking about these games. I guess time really is just a big circle. Some Sonic fans even started making their own fan games. Enter Christian Whitehead, who made the fan game Retro Sonic and created his own physics engine that recreated how the Genesis games played. The IQ scores of some Sonic fans are pretty high because that is wild. Sonic Team couldn't even do that in Generations. Sega contracted Whitehead to make the stellar Sonic 1, 2, and CD mobile ports we discussed earlier. While working on these, Whitehead created a prototype for a new game in this style called Sonic Discovery, which he presented to series producer Takashi Iizuka. Iizuka liked what he saw, and Sonic Mania was greenlit. Whitehead was assisted by the company's Headcanon and Pagoda West. People from these companies also had experience with Sonic fan games, like the composer T. Lopes. Mania was made by the fans for the fans, and it was released in 2017 to celebrate the series' 25th anniversary. I remember being shocked when I saw the announcement for this game. I don't think anyone thought we would ever see an official Sonic game that looked and played exactly like Sonic 3 again, and it was made by the fan community. It was a dream come true. By 2017, I was already a diehard fan of the series, and I was so excited to play this game. And it absolutely did not disappoint. The story sees Sonic and Tails return to Angel Island to investigate a powerful gem called the Phantom Ruby. However, a group of egg robos have located it first, and space-time warps when they try to grab it. Sonic and Tails are sent back to Green Hill Zone, where they fight Dr. Eggman. After beating him, we find that the Ruby has transformed the egg robos into the hard-boiled heavies who rebel against Eggman. Robotnik takes the Ruby and sends Sonic and Tails to Chemical Plant Zone. From here, they have to fight Eggman and the hard-boiled heavies to save the day again. By the way, I love the idea of the hard-boiled heavies. A bunch of egg robos that get transformed into unique characters and rebel against Eggman is a fun idea. Like 3 and K, you can play as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Tails and Knuckles play the exact same as before, with their abilities to fly and glide through the air. Knuckles still has his own routes through levels, although there are less of them than before. The most notable one is his version of Mirage Saloon Act 1 is exclusive to his playthrough, with it being a standard platforming stage, while it's primarily a tornado level for the other characters. Sonic also plays the same as 3 and K, except the Insta-Shield is gone. Instead, Sonic has access to the Drop Dash, a spin dash he charges in the air that goes off as soon as he lands. I love this move. Every character can run fast in this game, but the sense of speed with Sonic is now absolutely addicting. Sometimes he just never has to stop moving because you can chain drop dashes into each other. He feels incredibly fluid to play as, which makes the gameplay even better than before. You know what else is fluid? Liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Subscribe now and you'll get a free Pokemon. Okay, we can get back to the video. The Elemental Shields return with their unique abilities for Sonic, along with the other power-ups we're used to. One that wasn't in the previous games is called the Combine Ring, where if you take damage, all your rings are dropped in the form of giant rings. There are less of these to grab, and collecting them all restores your rings to their max value instead of the default 20 rings. I thought this was a new power-up at first, but it actually originated from the obscure spin-off game on the Sega 32X, Knuckles Chaotix. The special stages are still accessed from giant rings hidden in the levels, and I adore how they look in this game. I'm such a sucker for low polygon models in modern games. The special stages are a fusion between the ones in CD and the ones in 3 and K. You're in a 3D space where you're always running after a UFO holding the Chaos Emerald. You collect blue spears and rings along the way. The blue spears fill up a meter, representing your Mach speed. You can go up to Mach 3, where your character runs very fast, so it's easier for them to catch the UFO. The downside to being that quick is it's harder to control yourself, so you're more likely to fall off the level, which instantly ends the special stage. The rings are basically a time limit, where you're constantly losing them, and you need to keep collecting the ones in your path, because if you run out of them, you also fail the special stage. I absolutely love playing these. Every few seconds when I collect blue spears and rings, jump over a bottomless pit, or see myself getting closer and closer to the UFO is so exciting. Then when I see Sonic get the Chaos Emerald, I feel amazing. And the Sega Saturn Sonic aesthetic here rules. It's so hard to decide my favorite special stages in the series between CD, 3 and K, and Mania, but I'm gonna give it to the ones here. They're definitely on the easy side, but I mainly play these games to relax and have fun, so that's completely fine by me. Whenever I replay this game, I am on cloud 9 in these stages. Collecting all the Chaos Emeralds once again grants every character their cool super form. This was the first game where you activate these by pressing the triangle button in the air, which was a great change. Most of the zones in Mania are from the previous games. We have Green Hell from Sonic 1, Stardust Speedway and Metallic Madness from CD, Chemical Plant and Oil Ocean from Sonic 2, and Flying Battery, Hydro City, and Lava Reef from Sonic 3 and K. But despite reusing stages, the levels have been altered quite a bit. The way it usually works is the first act is essentially a remix of the zone, and then the second act introduces new mechanics and level design that expand on the original stages and makes playing them feel unique. Chemical Plant is a great example of this, where the first act is very similar to Sonic 2. But then the next act introduces a mechanic where you jump on these syringes to change the color of chemicals, so you can bounce on them to progress in the level. Or how about a zone like Metallic Madness? It feels very different from the original in CD, with the level design being more conducive to fast platforming, and these great gimmicks of being teleported into the background and being shrunk by a laser into a cute mini Sonic. The shrinking laser was in CD, but you now spend more time in this form, like in the Eggman battle, where you also fight little robot Amy's and Eggmans. Even though we've seen these stages before, the new ideas make them stand out. And not every zone is from the past. 5 of the 13 zones are new, and they're all fantastic. There's so many creative ideas on display here, like Studiopolis taking place in a studio, where you're lifted into the air by director chairs, see advertisements for Egg TV on a giant screen, and run past applause signs. Or Mirage Saloon, that's themed after the Wild West, so Sonic is getting shot out of giant guns and spinning on bar stools. And playing every stage is a treat because there's a perfect blend of speed, platforming, and exploration. My favorite thing to do in Mania is search the levels. Even after I get all the emeralds, I still enjoy looking for giant rings because I swear, every playthrough I find one I've never seen before despite how many times I've played this game. Like 3 and K, the levels are so brilliantly designed that it feels like there's so much to do and explore, and yet they never feel long because of how much fun I'm having. Speaking as a Sonic fan, you can tell there's so much reverence for the series in this game. Obviously the stages and mechanics call back to the Genesis titles, but there's so many obscure references that I love. Like when you have to fight Dr. Eggman in Chemical Plant Zone, and the battle is a puzzle game because it's referencing Dr. Robotnik's mean beam machine. Or the Mirage Saloon boss, who transforms into forgotten characters like Fang the Sniper and Bark the Polar Bear. Bark the Polar Bear, who has only ever been in Sonic the Fighters. Wow. There's a myriad of other references to the Game Gear games and other spin-offs, but you get the point. Mania is a true celebration of classic Sonic, and that makes the game even better for me. Act 1s once again end with the mini-boss, and then you fight Eggman or a hard-boiled heavy at the end of Act 2. These are good fights, and some of them are really creative, like using the Eggmobile against Robotnik in Hydro City, or the freaking Death Egg robot attacking you in Green Hill Zone. What the hell? When you reach a checkpoint with at least 25 rings, you're taken to a bonus stage. It's here where you play Blue Spears from Sonic 3 and K, and I love Blue Spears, so these are a blast. There's 32 of these maps, and once you've completed them all with perfect bonuses, you get gold medallions that unlock a Blue Spears mode in the extras menu, featuring even more stages to play on. Unfortunately, I don't play these much anymore. That's because if you own Sonic Mania Plus and have all the gold medallions, when you enter a bonus stage, you'll instead be taken to a pinball stage where you can earn power-ups. These are helpful when I need a specific elemental shield, but I do miss playing the Blue Spears in regular gameplay. I can't even replay the ones where I have the gold medallions without resetting all my data, so this footage has been from the extras menu. But that's a very small complaint. Since I just mentioned Sonic Mania Plus, the main feature added with the DLC is Encore Mode. You start off in a short Angel Island section and free the characters Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel, two incredibly obscure characters. Ray was only in a Japanese exclusive arcade game. At least Mighty got to be Knuckles Chaotix. In Encore Mode, two characters are teamed together, and you can swap between them by pressing the triangle button. You can find the other characters in item boxes, and they function as your lives in each zone. To use the characters in reserve, you either need to find an item box that swaps the lead with whoever's next, find a randomizer item box, or die. What makes Mighty unique is he has a bounce attack and can safely land on spikes once because he's an armadillo. Ray can fly in the air, and it handles very closely to the cape from Super Mario World. Both are fun to use, but Ray is definitely my favorite because flight is really broken in these games. They get access to super forms too, in case you were wondering. Other than the team mechanic, this mode isn't that different from the main campaign. I appreciate the new look of the zones, but the levels are mostly the same. The big change to the level design is many of the giant rings are in new locations, so you need to explore the stages more than before. When you reach the special stages, you'll see they're brand new and more challenging. I almost never fail any of the original 7 stages, but the ones in Encore Mode are a different beast. They're very precise and much less forgiving. When I play these, I am locked in and terrified the whole time, and I still lose often. The last stage in particular is a demon. I failed it 4 times. These are the hardest special stages I've discussed so far, but they're still great because of the immense satisfaction I feel when beating them. Especially Special Stage 7. My pop-off was legendary. I would say collecting the emeralds is the main appeal of Encore Mode for me. Playing as every character is neat too, but I play this mode when I'm in the mood for a challenge. My advice if you want to try this out is make Tails your main character. It's very helpful to get to the upper pathway ASAP to look for the giant rings, because I don't know where they are, and realistically I need to find like 12 of them to get every emerald. And it does feel awesome discovering them. If you like exploration and special stages, I'd recommend this mode, but other than that, it's basically just the base game with the option to change characters. Other features in this game include a sound test, a mode where you play even more Mean Bean Machine, and options like using the Super Peel Out, or my personal favorite, and Knuckles mode. It's the same game, but you play with Knuckles as your sidekick. Hell yeah. And yes, this still works even if you select Knuckles as the main character. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. The visuals in Mania are stellar. I'm a fan of games like this with a retro art style, and Mania looks incredible for what it's going for. The backgrounds are so pretty and detailed, like in Press Garden Act 2. All the sprites look great, and I love the extra animation frames they've added. It makes the game look smooth. And the characters have so much charm too. Mania is a very cute game. You can see even more of this in the phenomenal animated cutscenes and the Sonic Mania Adventures series on YouTube. As you can expect, the soundtrack is very good. T. Lopes does a great job remixing the original stage music, but I think he really shines when he gets to create his own. Press Garden and Mirage Saloon are my favorite tracks, but I think Studiopolis is going to be burned into my brain forever. The biggest criticism I hear about this game are the reused stages and level designs. I understand why someone would feel this way, because it is true to an extent. I do get deja vu when playing some stages, especially this playthrough because I just beat Sonic 3. But remember what I said earlier, that the past zones have new mechanics that make them feel fresh? And there are new stages and ideas in Mania, so I'm not bothered by this game reusing levels. Well, except for Lava Reef. This is the one place where I think the devs couldn't come up with a new idea or distinct level design, so it just feels like Sonic 3 and K again, and it's a bit lame. Let's discuss the endgame. We learn Eggman is control of Little Planet again. So every character travels to Titanic Monarch Zone for the final face-off. Titanic Monarch is a decent last level. These typically aren't the highlights of Sonic games because they're usually slower paced to be more challenging, so I wouldn't say I love this zone, but it's still enjoyable. The final boss is interesting because Eggman has 4 health bars, 1 for each arm. In the meantime, you need to survive against the Phantom Heavies when he sends you to them. Eggman goes down, but the Phantom Ruby activates, teleporting Sonic to Egg Reverie Zone. Here the Heavy King takes control of the Phantom Ruby and clashes with Eggman, who wants it for himself. Sonic still has the Chaos Emeralds, so he goes super and has to defeat both of them. This fight can be difficult because you don't get that many rings, and the Heavy King with the Phantom Ruby can actually damage Super Sonic. I'd recommend fighting him on the ground, and you should be fine. Eggman in comparison is a joke in this fight. Sonic is able to knock the Ruby out of Eggman's possession, but this creates a wormhole that sucks him up. But Eggman's base is destroyed, Little Planet is freed, and Sonic will be okay. Well, he'll be in Sonic Forces, so maybe not. I don't know, I haven't played that game in so long. Now that we've discussed everything else about Mania, I want to talk about why it's so important to me. When I was growing up, I loved the classic Sonic games, but my experience with them wasn't 100% authentic because I watched other people play them first. Of course, that's why I played them in the first place, but as I got older, I wished I could have a fresh experience with them. And Mania gave me what I wanted. The first day I downloaded this game on Steam, I beat it 3 times in that short span alone. I had so much fun playing Mania, and it became comforting to me. It came out towards the end of high school, when I didn't have much of a social life, and it really helped me get through that period. I can't even count how many times I've played it. It's one of those experiences that was so salient to me as a young adult that I remember I was playing Oil Ocean Zone when I got my college acceptance letter. I really like when I have positive memories associated with media. It attaches a layer of nostalgia onto it, which is ironic when this game is already inherently nostalgic. Mania has a personal attachment to me, in addition to being an amazing game to play. I don't have much to criticize since I'm personally not bothered by the past zones. Are there objectively better games? Definitely. I don't even know if I can argue Mania is a better game than Sonic 3 and K, only using logic. But a discussion like the best game ever is very subjective since everyone likes different kinds of games. I'm sure tons of people will call Elden Ring the best game ever, but I don't have an interest in playing something like that, so it would never make my list. I love Sonic games, and Mania is my favorite in the series, which is why I think it's one of the best games ever. It's incredibly fun with the speed, exploration, charm, special stages, and the clear passion the devs had for Sonic the Hedgehog. Mania is a fan-fueled tribute to classic Sonic and his history that also pushes the series forward, and I think that's spectacular.